everybody, we are back. We are on the last chapter, chapter 12, called The Law of Success. And remember, we're working out of the book, Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. And since it's the last chapter, this is the last chapter. There is no conclusion beyond here. But this is a terrific chapter. This is the Law of Success this is a terrific chapter to wrap up the entire book, to wrap up all the laws. And you really want to listen to this chapter. Like when I read this chapter, and I've read this book over and over and over again. I've had this book at least 12 years. And this chapter, like when I even read through it here before doing this video, it's a very astonishing chapter. I mean, some of the paragraphs, I really have nothing to say. You're kind of sitting there in awe a little bit. So this is a fantastic chapter. So lo and behold, let's get rock and roll and dive into this. The Law of Success. He can who thinks he can. That's the quote here that Raymond Holliwell is working off of. He can who thinks he can. If you think you can do it, you can do it. If you think you can't, you cannot. And this is the basics to all the laws we've been working with. If you seek for good by law, good has to come to you. This is what we really have to ingrain our beliefs with, is that if I'm doing good, good has to come back to me. Okay, now I don't know the angle it's coming from. I'm not controlling the how. I don't know how it's going to come to me. Most of the time it comes in a different way than we expect. But the law is good has to come back. So, he can who thinks he can. God intended every individual to succeed. It is God's purpose that man should become great. It is God's will that man should not only use, but enjoy every good in the universe. The law of God denies man nothing. And right off the bat, this is why this chapter is really going to dive into some really great, really great stuff here. Let me read this one more time for you. God intended every individual to succeed. Why is that? Abundance is inside us. Abundance is our birthright. That's the real truth here, is abundance is our birthright. Heaven is within us. God is within us. The Spirit is within us. Jesus said in the New Testament that all the miracles he could do and perform, we can do as well, and we can do even more. Okay, so God intended every individual to succeed. You just have to believe it. It is God's purpose that man, you, should become great. It is God's will that man should not only use, but enjoy every good in the universe. The law of God denies man nothing. Man is born to be rich. The powers inherent in him are inexhaustible. Each normal person is endowed with a complete set of faculties, which, if properly developed and scientifically applied, will ensure success. Ever-growing success. Now, what does he mean by this? Now, really quick here, when he talks about faculties, we're all endowed with faculties that help us. Okay, now he's not talking about our five senses. He's talking about our faculties. Our five senses is see, hear, smell, taste, touch. See, hear, smell, taste, touch is what we have in our 3D world. That's really controlled by our conscious mind. Okay, it's not controlled by our subconscious. So some examples are our faculties. When we're endowed with these faculties and it's properly developed and it's scientifically applied to all these laws, will ensure success. Okay, now faculties are perception, our intuition, having a gut feeling, following that intuition. We don't really know where it comes from. I mean, we kind of do, but we don't know how it really works out. When we have an intuitive thought. I mean, sometimes I'll have a gut feeling just to do something, I do it. There's other times I'll have an intuition, but it's almost like I have a small little voice telling me something. And it's so small, It's so small that it's so easy for my conscious mind to basically fluff it off. But that's our faculties, developing them to a point where that's leading our lives. That's directing us in the right direction. Man is made for progress. Every man contains within himself the capacity for endless development. Advancement into all things is the law's great purpose. By learning to work with the law and promoting that aim, man may build himself into greater and greater success. All the processes of nature are successful. Nature knows no failures. She never plans anything but success. Listen to this. Nature knows no failures. As long as you obey the laws of nature, she knows no failures. She never plans anything but success. She aims at results in every form and manner. To succeed in the best and fullest sense of the term, we must, with nature as our model, copy her methods. In her principles and laws, we shall discover all the secrets of success. And you notice that throughout the book, sometimes almost every single chapter, he's always given a little example of the laws of nature. He's always given little examples of farming. It makes sense. Like when you're planting a crop, there's certain laws you have to obey to have your crop flourish. And if you disobey these laws, okay, your crop isn't going to flourish. You're going to have no farm. Infinite resources are a man's disposal. I'll say it one more time. Infinite resources, an abundance of resources. The law of supply is here, the law of abundance. That's what he means. Infinite resources are at man's disposal. Abundance is all around us. Abundance is infinite. That's what we really have to termly just believe to our core is we don't have to compete for abundance. Abundance isn't going to run out. Abundance is infinite. There are no limits to his possibilities. He focuses and individualizes the elements, forces, and principles of the whole world. He can develop a wonderful intelligence. Thus, all life's questions may be answered, all nature's secrets discovered, and all human problems solved. Nothing is impossible. Let me see what color I have it on. Let me change it over to purple. We firmly just have to believe nothing is impossible. When we go on with our day, that's our core, is nothing is impossible. I can do anything. Anything can come to me. Okay, I can have anything I want. I can live any life that I want. Higher faculties, remarkable talents, superior insight, and greater power are dormant in all. Listen to this. Higher faculties, remarkable talents, superior insight, and having a great intuition, a great perception, and greater power are all dormant in every single person. And by special psychological methods, these exceptional elements can be developed to an extraordinary degree for actual and practical use. Every mind can develop greatness. It is simply a matter of knowing how. True self-help, self-discovery, self-knowledge, and a proper instruction in applying one's faculties and using one's forces will advance any person. Practice will ensure efficiency. Listen to this. Practice will ensure efficiency. Use will bring forth results. Success, therefore, is within reach of every aspiring man, every aspiring person. So, lots of times when he talks about practice, we ensure efficiency. Lots of times when we jump on YouTube, we talk about manifesting, law of attraction, law of assumption. Lots of times, there's always an immediate gratification gets just thrown into it. And this is in every career, every business, every brand. Especially in the health industry, there's always an immediate gratification. You do this one thing and lose weight within a week. You know what I mean? Lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds in 3 days. Or if you manifest within 24 hours. And when we talk about manifesting, one point is, part of it is true. You can manifest within 24 hours. But that's lots of times if you're obeying all the laws. And you've done a lot of practice to lead up to that point. So a lot of people kind of flounder in this because they're coming from basically a loose mind. Look at a mind as a muscle. If you never worked out before in your life and you go to the gym, well, you're not going to do one workout and look in the mirror and be in awesome shape. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be, a certain amount of time you got to go through. There's going to be a certain incubation period that you have to go through. And it's just time for your body to adjust and adapt and actually build and lose weight, get more defined. That's what he's saying. Practice will ensure efficiency. When you're practicing, you don't give up. You persist and you consist in all these exercises. It will ensure you efficiency. You will get better and better and better at it. That's 100%. Do you wish to succeed? That's a question to you. Do you wish to succeed? You can. You possess all the essentials within yourself. All you need is to gain a right understanding of the principles and laws upon which success is based, and then to apply the right methods of operating these cases until success is earned. The law of success is as definite as the laws of any science. Listen to this. The laws of success is definite as of the laws of science. The exact use of this law will produce results every time. It is the results that count, and as results may be multiplied indefinitely by the persistent application of this law, there is no ending to the success you can enjoy. Great things are no less possible than small things. It is the great things that will follow whoever uses the law with faith and understanding. Whatever you present, state, or condition may be, there is better and a larger future in store for you. But you must prepare yourself for it. You cannot rise into a better and greater things unless you do something about it. I'm going to highlight this for you. Sorry about that. I'm sweating. I worked out, took a shower, and now I turned off all the kind of the air and stuff like that so the mic don't pick up sound or odd sounds, and I'm in here. I'm in there like feel like I'm pouring down sweat. You cannot rise into a better and greater things unless you do something about it. Study, planning, and effort are all necessary. Listen to this. Studying, planning, and effort are all necessary. I mean, it's just like the example I said for the gym. If you're out of shape, the only way you'll get back in shape is go to the gym, be more active, join a sport. And over time, you doing that, you're slowly going to get better and you're slowly going to get back in shape. The mind is no different. The young and the old alike are entitled to advance. To be true to yourself and to the law which governs you, you simply must advance. For advancement is success. Listen to this. For advancement is success. It is the law's intention that you shall move forward. You can stand still and you can go backward, thus retarding your normal progress for a while, perhaps as long as a lifetime. But in the end, you will be compelled to move forward, especially in the direction of the soul's growth. Now, isn't it funny when we talk about growth? Isn't it funny? We naturally want to move forward. We naturally want to grow and expand and get better. There's a part of us, we naturally want to do that. Now, there's a difference if we get lazy, we talk ourselves out of it and stuff like that, but we naturally want to go in that direction. Isn't that really weird? You know, even though maybe you're not going to the gym, you could be really out of shape, but you naturally want to get better. You know, and maybe in other areas of your life. Isn't it kind of weird when you really sit back and think about it? We naturally want to move forward. We naturally want to get better. We naturally want to improve our life. No matter if it's a better house, a better car, a better career, a better job, you know, a better body, going to the gym. No matter what it is, we naturally want to get better. Nature brooks no interferences with her purposes. This is often the reason why prods and pricks of adversity. What he means by this, when he says prods and pricks, is basically thorns. You know, kind of like, you know, you're walking through the weeds, you're in nature, and you pick up a rose, or you pick up a thorn bush, the thorns are over it, or it's like little burrs. And when I let Bo run around outside, he'll come back and I'll have these sometimes big burrs on him, or small little burrs that get attached to his skin and I have to like comb out and take out. But that's what he's talking about. This is often the reason why thorns, burrs of adversity come when we fail to move forward. Isn't that weird? We fail to kind of move forward. You know, what's happening, we start going backwards. And when we start going backwards, that's when issues start to arise. There's a new element abroad, the spirit of progress. And we must all keep pace with the times. You can achieve your ambition. Listen to this. You can achieve your ambition. You can achieve anything you want. Aim high and build well. What you imagine to yourself as success can be reached. The law never blunders. What she idolizes, she has the power to actualize. Listen to this. This is what every old school prosperity teacher teaches about. Just right here. You know, Raymond Holliwell is teaching as well. You know, Neville Goddard is teaching, and this is Neville Goddard. This is the whole basis of law of assumption right here. Is that what you imagine to yourself as success can be reached. What you imagine inside your imagination, you can have. Okay, if you're imagining that multi-million-dollar house, you can have it. If you can see it in your imagination, you can have it. That's what he's saying. That's the whole process of law of assumption. The law never blunders. Listen to this. The law never blunders. What she idolizes, she has the power to actualize. What's that mean? What she idolizes, she has the power to actualize. What idolize mean? You idolize something, you're going inside your imagination because you really want it. Even as a kid, when you idolize something, you play pretend, you go inside your imagination and you pretend you already have it. What you idolize, you have the power to actualize, you have the power for it to come in your 3D world. It's the same thing what I just said. If you want that dream car, and all you always envision yourself having a dream car, you can go inside your imagination, having that dream car. If you can visualize it, if you can go inside your imagination and see it, what the law says is that you can have it. If you can see it in your imagination, you can have it. It just comes down to you really believing that. What she images in your mind, she has the power to produce materially. That's the second part of this. All the images in your mind, you have the power to produce it. She ever seeks to build you up in the power and in success. That is her plan for you. The faculties possessed by all great and successful men are the same human faculties you possess. Listen to this. All the richest people in the world, all the faculties they have, all the greatness they have, you have the same human faculties. You possess the same potential. That's what he's saying here. They gained some understanding of the right kind, and then they applied their faculties in the best way they knew for advancement, and so earned success. That's all they did. Some will ask, I'm right down here, some will ask, but in what does true success consist? What does it mean by true success? Almost every other person will hold a different view as to what constitutes real success. To avoid confusion of ideas, let us define our meaning of the term. Most people consider success as being a high state of worldly prosperity, meaning you have a lot of money. Others, as the realization of personal hopes or fulfillment of heart's desires. Still others as the achievement of their ambitions or the performance of great deeds. Real success, however, now he's down here. Now he's saying real success, however, is something more than this. We do not define it in terms of money, position, fame, or wealth, although it may include all these things, but true, genuine success of the largest kind lies in the results obtained, harvest reaped and distributed, so that our fellow beings at large are benefited and the whole world enriched. Yet, for the purpose of our lesson, the term success will be interpreted in a more individual sense as meaning personal advancement and increase, and the favorable termination of anything attempted. Man is so constructed that he may utilize the elements of his life to build himself up into an ever-increasing power, betterment, and success. He is also subtle related to everything outside of himself, that his purpose may be fulfilled. Such fulfillment, however, will depend on the actual use he makes of his mind, and whether he chooses to serve in ignorance or to govern with knowledge the forces of his life. Success is bringing one's self and one's actions to a standard higher than the ordinary human standard. Most all the failures and defeats in life are due to mental blindness. Listen to this. He's talking to all of us when he says this. Like most of our defeats, most of our failures, most of our bad things happening to us, no matter what we want to say. So this is what he's talking about. Most of all of our failures and defeats in life are due to mental blindness. Okay, we're mentally blind to it. We don't know what's going on. We don't know how to fix it. We don't know why it's coming to us. When the heart is right, the head thinks right. All our acts are judged by our inner motives, not by the outer accomplishments. Listen to this. All of our acts are judged by our inner motives. It comes from within out, not by our outer accomplishments. Out of the heart are the issues of life. Moral cowardice, indecisions at critical moments, a desire to have one's own way, inability to cooperate, have shattered the hopes of millions. He's wording this really weird, but you kind of get the point here. Moral being a coward, but morally being a coward. You're kind of coward with your morals. You can't stand up for your morals. So you kind of just go with the flow. Indecision of critical moments, a desire to have one's own way, inability to cooperate, have shattered the hopes of millions. They have wrecked their prospects of success. To eliminate these mental handicaps is the first move for all who wish to aim high. Success depends upon adopting a true course, upholding what is just and right in thought and action. Listen, success depends upon adopting a true course, upholding what is just and right in thought and action. Adherence to a principle is most essential. Success is not a creature of circumstance, nor a game of chance, nor luck, for not until the golden rule is the basis of commercial activity can we be in harmony with this principle. Religion and business are not two separate sciences. They are both as one. And he's explained this, in many different ways throughout the whole book. Everything is congruent. All the laws are congruent, okay? But it's amazing how when we go through the school system, how we're always taught everything is compartmentalized. Everything is separate. Even when you go into business and you're a business consultant, you start seeing this, how every business has different departments. And a lot of the departments think they're better than other departments. There's no congruency. That's what basically shuts down a business. Is because when you go in, there's no congruency between all the departments. And he brings it up with religion and business. He's saying religion and business are not two separate sciences, but they are both as one. They're both congruent. Lord Leverhulme said, "It is frequently stated that modern business cannot be conducted on a line of a Sermon on the Mount. I can only say that a business conducted on any other basis will never be permanently successful. Business is an expression of man's highest aim, man's religion." The fact that man is honest and truthful and industrious does not ensure his success. More may be necessary than this. For a man is timid, backward, or fearful, fear will act as a brake to retard his progress. If a man is an efficient engineer, yet has an inferiority complex, that complex will make him mediocre, and he will not be able to extend himself according to his skillful training. Fear, I'm right here, fear is largely the cause of failures. Isn't that interesting? Fear is what holds us back. It cannot be eliminated either by drugs or by a surgeon's knife. The only remedy known for fear is understanding. When one understands that universe is filled with the presence of God, there is nothing to fear. Now I'm going to go down here. I'm not going to move it up. I'm going to go down here and read this. Most of us could meet our obligations if it were not for fear of some kind that tells us differently. We hypnotize ourselves into a belief which incapacitates our power. Listen to this. He's still talking about fear. We hypnotize ourselves. We're so scared. We hypnotize ourselves into a belief that incapacitates our power. Fear clouds our vision. It numbs our faculties. It paralyzes our mental forces, which must be free and active if we are to avert calamity. When man's mind is confused by fear, he is in no condition to accept an opportunity. God does not give us a spirit of fear, but the courage and a sound mind. Isn't that interesting when he kind of wraps this up here? When man's mind is confused by fear, when fear overtakes you, he is in no condition to accept an opportunity. Fear is incapacitating. Like even Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich said, when worry leads to doubt, then doubt and worry basically mix together and become congruent, and that equals fear. And fear is crippling. Why is fear crippling? Raymond Holliwell just said it. Fear is crippling because it totally eliminates us. It totally stops us in our track from moving forward to our hopes and wishes and dreams. Fear holds us back. Okay, it's like Bob Proctor would always explain, like the fear barrier. Okay, when we want a better life, okay, we want that dream house, we start changing, we start doing personal development, we start doing all these manifesting techniques, but sooner or later in our 3D world, we're gonna come face to face with fear, and that's called the fear barrier. Okay, what we want is on the other side of fear, is on the other side of the fear barrier. That's our dream life. That's what we want, but we have to push through the fear. But most people don't push through it, and you're going to experience this in your manifesting journey. You're going to be scared to do things. And remember, fear is not the presence of God. Because once you have the presence of God, the presence of the law, there is nothing to fear. Fear is all made up in your mind. That's really what he's saying here. It's all a mental fallacy, okay? But it's crippling. If it seems so real to you, but you have to push through that fear. Man's religion does not make for him a success. If a man wears glasses to improve his vision, for the same reason, man gets more out of life with a religion that serves to enlarge his vision. A true religion serves to expand or enlarge man's vision, whereas the practical, irreligious man is cramped by his narrow and limited view. If we think supply depends upon people or material conditions, and then are worried when people fail us, conditions go from bad to worse. The only safeguard is to feel and know that God, the law, is our supply. Okay, the law, he's talking about the law of supply here, the law of abundance. Supply is for everybody. Supply is infinite. And to affirm it constantly. If we desire success, we must think success. Listen to this right here. If we desire success, we must think success. We must talk and act success. Isn't that funny? Okay, he's talking about what we should be doing in our 3D world. If you want success, you want a successful life, well, you must think success all the time, as much as you can. You must talk. You must verbalize success. You must act success. You must act as if the person you want to become. Okay, if you want to be a millionaire, well, it means, what does that mean? You must think like a millionaire. You must talk like a millionaire. You must act like a millionaire. That's exactly what that means. And then he continues on, and can do this more easily if we know that God, the law, is on our side. When you know the laws of the universe are on your side, God is on your side. You know, that should embed that belief, make that belief a little bit more stronger for you. No good thing will God, the law, withhold from them that walk uprightly. The religious-minded man realizes that he that is for us is greater than that which is against us. It is said that half our failures are a result of our pulling up on our horses and checking them as they are about to leap the barrier. Expert riders let the horse have his head, and this ensures a safe jump. Half our failures then are that we pull in at the moment when we should let our forces out to have full vent as we make a leap. We jerk ourselves back into failure just when we could be riding on to victory. Now that was a kind of a rough little read there, that short little paragraph. He uses a really funny example here. Remember, this was written back in 1967, so he's talking about horse, and the horse, probably with gambling and horse races and stuff like that, was really popular back then. So what he's saying is, when the horse race, the horse is about to jump, the rider releases, basically just lets the horse have its way, and that way they can jump. So basically what he's saying is, like, kind of using this as a kind of like a parable for us, is that what we tend to do is when everything's going our way, and when we should be letting go, kind of like let go, let God, stop controlling the how, when we should be letting go of it, we tighten our grip. You know, and then as we tighten our grip, you know, that basically holds everything back for us. Like if a rider with a horse, if he would tighten his grip and yank, the horse wouldn't be able to jump and probably fall. You know what I mean? So that's the same thing he's saying with us. It's just a little bit of a weird example. But in order for us to move on, we have to let go. You know, there's certain places with our manifesting journey. You know, we're doing these exercises, but there's a certain place where we just have to trust and let go, and completely let go of the how in order for it to come to us. Most of us, sometimes including myself with this, most of us are stuck in the how. Most of us are stuck right here because we're trying to control the how. We're constantly looking for it when we should just be letting it go, totally forget about it, and go on with our life. That's what we should be doing. That's what's really holding us back from manifesting. We're in this limbo stage of not letting go and not truly letting go. You know, we say we're letting go, but you're constantly thinking about it. Every time you wake up in the morning, you're it's a reminder, well, it hasn't happened today. You know what I mean? So that's what he's really talking about here. This is an example all in purple here, and two separate examples, but it kind of really proves the point. Two boys dove into the river one day, challenging one another to swim across a distance about 2 miles. So they started in one little island. They're swimming across the river to the next island, and it's about a 2 mile journey. They swam, and there's two of them, like best friends, two of them swimming side by side. They swam on with the strongest and steady stroke, and the lead swimmer, not looking back, continued swimming on toward the other shore. When he walked out on the bank of the river and had completed his swim, so the swimmer made it. Okay, he never looked back. Okay, when he walked out on the other side, walked out on the shore, and has completed his swim, he looked back to note that his friend was nowhere near. He looked more carefully, and behold, there he stood back on the other shore from where they had started. When he met his friend, he said to him, so I'm right here. So when they met back up, so basically what happened, they both started off swimming. The one never looked back, swam clear across to the other side. When he got there, he's like, where's my friend at? So he looked back and he noticed his friend's like way back standing on the other shore. Basically never swam with him. So by the time they met back up, he's like, hey, what's up? What happened? What happened to you? So that's what he said. And he goes on, he says, how was it that you did not follow me across the stream and reach the other shore? The boy who turned back said, oh, after I got about halfway out, I looked back and saw how far I had come, and I was afraid I couldn't make it, so I turned back. But, said the boy who swam across the stream, why didn't you think to look forward as I did? For I saw only the shore coming closer and closer to me with each stroke. Why didn't you think it was just as hard to turn back to safety as it was to continue swimming to your goal? So we wrapped it up. The boy who made it across. So basically what happened is they're two swimming side by side. The one that turned back, he actually swam halfway. He swam halfway, so he's in the middle, okay, but he looked back and he got scared how far he went. But he swam halfway. So he turned back and swam back, even though he's swimming the same distance. So that's what his friend tells him, like, if you would just maintain your focus forward, why would you swim halfway and turn around and go back? Why didn't you just keep on going? So that's what his friend told him. So he said, why didn't you think it was just as hard to turn back to safety as it was to continue swimming to your goal? Then Holliwell does a second example. When Moses led the children out of Israel, out of Egypt to the promised land, they met with some seemed to be impossible barrier, the Red Sea. So when Moses led, they escaped Egypt. Finally they got way down to the Red Sea and they couldn't cross the Red Sea. Then at that point, all the Egyptians, the Egyptian army was basically coming to wipe them out. So they get to this Red Sea and was like, basically, what now? Some wanted to turn back. Many murmured and complained because they had ventured so far from Egypt. Moses cried out, God, what shall I do? And the word came back to him, why criest thou unto me? Speak to thy children that they go forward. Moses spoke to his people, and as they marched into the sea, the waters parted, and they crossed over on dry land. Moses burned his bridges behind him as he went. Then there could be no retreat. Success is a matter of advancement by grade. No man can become a success except by training. Listen to this. This is where it really gets good. Success is a matter of advancement by grade. And you can put manifesting in here too. No man can become a success except by training. An athlete will train for weeks and months to fit himself for a contest that may last only a few minutes. The real secret contains in moving forward. And that particular mental attitude which promotes this constant progress is a ruling factor in the art of success. No person can succeed who is not imbued with the desire to advance. And the fact that the first step is to become thoroughly saturated with the spirit of progress. So one feels stimulated with a persistent desire to work for better and greater things. The desire to advance implies the power to advance. That is a law of absolute in its actions as any law of science. Okay, I'm right here. The fact that you desire to succeed is evidence that you have the power to succeed. Listen to this. The fact that you have desire to succeed, you have that desire, you have that want for a better life, is evidence that you have the power to do it. Otherwise, listen to this. Otherwise, you would not have been urged to inspire success forward. You cannot aspire to succeed unless you have the power to succeed. Desire creates the power. Power inspires the mind of the individual, and success is the result of that inspiration rightly applied. Now, what he's talking about here, even with the examples up above, with Moses and fear and the swimmers swimming across the ocean, there's going to be a time that you're scared. There's going to be a time that you're scared to move forward. And that's really what it is. Lots of times, like, we're kind of just, in some moments, sometimes we're just like stumbling forward, but we're stumbling forward in fear. But as long as you're moving forward, don't retreat and run backwards to your safety. Don't retreat to run backwards in your comfort zone. Because it's true, like, we all want success. Maybe you want to be a millionaire, but you're sitting only making 50 grand, maybe 100 grand a year, 150 grand a year. You're sitting here being an employee. You want to have your own business. You want to make millions of dollars, so forth and so forth. There's nothing wrong with that. But then when you start getting into manifesting self-improvement, just like we talked about before 5 minutes ago, we start talking about, well, if you want to be a millionaire, start acting like a millionaire. Start making decisions like a millionaire. Start talking like a millionaire. Start believing you're a millionaire in your 3D world. Start doing this stuff. And in the beginning, it's fun. You start acting like it. You start walking around like it. Maybe you start dressing like it, walking like it, talking to all your friends like it. Maybe you're having an imaginary conversation like it. Then it comes down to, when people start telling you, well, start making decisions like a millionaire. You go inside your imagination and you start thinking, well, these are the type of decisions I would make. Then at that point, what happens is that sooner or later, you hit that feel barrier, okay? You start getting uncomfortable making decisions like a millionaire, okay? Because you're used to making your decisions where you're at right now. So you're going to eventually hit that fear barrier. And what do? You have to push through it. You have to keep on moving forward. Okay? Sooner or later, you're going to hit that fear barrier. We all do. Okay? But you have to remember, when you hit that fear barrier, you're so close. You're super, super close to your goal, to what you want to achieve. It's just right on the other side of fear. Okay? But you got to kind of stumble forward. That's what I like to say. Investigating the lives of successful men, we find a very striking fact. We find a common quality that is responsible for their success, which consists of a constructive state of mind. Psychologists term this constructive state of mind as a successful attitude. Simple as it may seem, in most every case, the difference which decides success or failure is a ruling mental attitude. Isn't that weird? It is at fault and is the cause of failure. The discovery of this remarkable fact by modern psychology probes to the very root of some deep practical problems and indicates a way out of adversity and failure. In short, a positive mental attitude of the man who thinks he can, in contrast with the negative attitude of another who thinks he can't, is practically the only difference between the one who succeeds and the one who fails. I mean, it's it's as simple as that. I mean, a lot of this is so simple, but we don't do it. Manifesting is so simple, and this is why I say lots of times in a lot of my videos. When we're manifesting, it's so easy for us to talk conceptually about it. Okay, to talk conceptually about Never Goddard, talk conceptually about law of assumption and everything in it. And we can conceptually talk about this stuff. It's easy to sit here and say kind of, I read this, the positive mental attitude of a man who thinks he can, in contrast to a negative attitude of a man who thinks he can't, is practically that's the only difference between success and failure, is a person who thinks he can do it versus a person who thinks he can't do it. That's the only separation of failure, of success or failure. That's really the only separation. So I mean, so this stuff is so easy, but we don't do it. Because the reason why we don't do it is because our deep-rooted beliefs get in the way. And fear gets in the way. Remember, fear is crippling. Some persons, however, live in the conviction that as they are, so they must remain. They believe that God has cast them into a fixed mold and that the little ability or power which they possess is all they can hope or wish for in this life. Scientific research into the mysteries of the human mind reveals a wonderful world of power and possibility. The psychological truth is that what is possible in one mind is possible to another, the vastly more than we have ever dreamed. The same human faculties and the cultivated powers of the great and the successful are possible in all minds. The only real difference is the degree of development. The only real difference is the degree of development, not kind. Begin now to take a superior view of yourself, your life and circumstances, and the things and persons in general. As you mentally perceive the better and greater, you will consciously and unconsciously reach out for the better and the greater. In other words, your thoughts, desires, words, and mental actions will gradually become filled with the spirit of progress, and your faculties will grow stronger and your powers will increase. Catch the spirit of the words I can. Listen to this. Catch the spirit of the words I can, and you have the key to the successful attitude. Know you can succeed and proceed to think, live, and act in that strong conviction. You may search everywhere, anywhere, to discover the mystic secret of success, only to find that in the end, it is all contained in these two little words, I can. Modern psychology has discovered that the person who thinks he can will speedily develop the power that can. Listen to that. The person who thinks he can will speedily develop the power that he can. This is a demonstrable law of the mind. Persistently think you can do whatever you want to do, and it will not be long before you find yourself actually doing that thing. There is no miracle about it. The law works that way. The principle involved is that if the I can attitude is adopted, the mind will proceed to direct all the energies into those faculties which are employed in doing that which it is desired to accomplish, and steadily build up until they become large enough and strong enough actually to perform that previously appeared to be impossible. When Napoleon, this is the example here in purple, when Napoleon sought to conquer Italy, he was faced with an apparently insurmountable obstacle, towering the Alps. They were considered by the people who lived around them to be absolutely unscalable. But the words, I can't, were not in Napoleon's mind. He, being determined to conquer, persistently said to himself, I can. His descent on the other side of the mountains so surprised the people in that country that they were practically conquered without opposition. The shock of his doing what was deemed impossible took away their power of opposition. Thus, his greatest obstacle proved his sure means to victory. So it is with all difficulties. Obstacles viewed from a higher point of view are invariably stepping stones to success. John Bunyan was thrown into prison, and while in prison, there he faced a problem equal to the Alps. He wanted to continue his religious work. He was not easily defeated, so on the twisted paper that was brought to him as a cork in the milk jug, he wrote his immortal Pilgrim's Progress. This book alone has reached more people than he could ever preach in his whole lifetime. Obstacles serve as an opportunity to call up our latent powers. Listen to this. This is kind of what I've said before, and this is where our mind has to be focused. When we're going along for success, we want to achieve something. Obstacles are going to happen. Things are going to get in our way that we don't like. We're going to have a day that don't go our way. 100% it's going to happen. And I've always said it's our perception of it. Okay, and even when it happens to me, I gotta remind myself it's my perception of what's happening. Okay, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. It's my perception of it. So he's given an example here. Obstacles serve as an opportunity to call up our latent powers. And when obstacles happen, it's an opportunity. It's our perception of it. That's what I mean. There's some good in it. It's this. It's the same when we look at the law of good. If we're looking, or the law of compensation, not the law of good. The law of compensation is with anything and everything, including people. We look for the good and we pull out the good. So even with an obstacle, something negative in front of us, pull out the good. That's our perception of it. Obstacles serve as an opportunity to call up our latent powers. They draw us out and make us strong. They lead us to the goal we have in view. When we are up against it, when you deserve to progress, declare to yourself these words: I can. Remember, those simple words contain the magic formula to all success, and no goal worthwhile has ever been won without the realization of them. I can. Those two words, I can. You can use I can, I am, but you can do it. One state in life is largely determined by one's mental attitude. Listen, one state in life is largely determined by one's mental attitude. Men radiate discouragement, gloom, and failure because they accept the I can't attitude. Okay, when even if you have a day and you're discouraged, you're gloomy, your defeat is all around you, it's because you accepted the I can't attitude. Others positively emanate success through a cheerful, confident, energetic I can attitude. We meet them everywhere. One gravitates to conditions of adversity, ill luck, and misfortune, and the other attracts the very best and rises on and on to success. This is how the law works. Okay, now if we take the I can attitude to the I can't attitude, it's on the same line. Okay, you have I can over here, I can't over here. And it's always the opposite. Okay, if there's a hot, there has to be a cold. If there's a positive, there has to be a negative. If there's an I can attitude, well, there has to be an I can't attitude. It's on the same line. The law doesn't discriminate when you put it this way. The I can attitude is going to take you toward success because you're happy, you're go lucky, you're radiant. Okay, so all you're going to experience is those things. When you have it on the opposite side, when you have an I can't attitude, what are you going to attract to you? You're going to attract adversity. You're going to attract problems. You're going to attract ill luck and misfortune. It's on the same plane. Okay, that's what we have to realize. The negative weak one, the I can't individual, repels us. I'm right here. The negative weak one, the I can't individual, repels us. We instantly shun him. That is the law warning us to avoid him because he is out of tune with the divine order of things. We've all experienced this. It's like when someone's like really negative, they come up to us, like they start talking or whatever, we can just feel their energy where we kind of want to repel from them. We kind of want to stay away from them. I mean, that's basically what he's saying here. On the other hand, the strong type I can individual attracts and draws us to him. He is optimistic, and we are glad to associate with and to do business with him. Everyone has his own individual atmosphere, the same as a flower has its aroma. So let us seek to build up a strong, positive I can attitude, which will lead us to success. In all circumstances, you are greater than the things or the conditions. If not actually, you are potentially. Whatever you aim at, be certain of winning. Aim high, aim well, and your mistakes will come few and far between. Keep the I can attitude. Affirm it constantly. You will succeed. You will bound up to win. John D. Rockefeller states, the man who starts out with the idea of getting rich won't succeed. He must have a larger ambition. There is no mystery to business success. If he does each day's task successfully, stays faithfully within natural operations of commercial law, and keeps his head clear, he will come out all right. The next step is to encompass your life or to state your ideal or your objective. Make a mental picture and hold it in your mind that which you are aspiring to achieve. Begin with a persistent effort to work towards that final goal. Now here he's putting it in a different way. And again, this is what all old school prosperity teachers teach on. This is the law of assumption right here with Neville Goddard. But a lot of you got like Neville Goddard. He says the next step is to encompass your life or the state of your ideal, your state of your intention, what you want, okay, what you see your life as, okay, no matter if it's a successful life, no matter if it's a dream house, dream car, no matter what it is, your ideal or your objective or your intention. And he says, make a mental picture and hold it in your mind. What does that mean? Make a mental picture, but hold it in your mind. Go inside your imagination. Act as if. See yourself doing it inside your imagination. That's what he's talking about. And he says, hold it in your mind that which you are aspiring to achieve. You've already achieved it inside your mind. You already have what you want inside your mind. And he says, begin with a persistent effort to work towards that final goal. Life, after all, is just like a series of many steps. Each step may provide you with new problems, but as you meet each new problem, keep an eye ever fixed upon the top, your objective, your aim, your goal. No matter how crude or how poor your first efforts may be, they are but the beginning. You may not compare yourself with another. Listen to this. Don't compare yourself with another. Everyone has had to commence at some time at the very bottom. In the meantime, know that you cannot fail until you give up. Listen to this. When he says, in the meantime, know that you cannot fail unless you give up. So all he's saying here, the only way you fail is if you give up. That's about it. You don't fail. If you're moving forward, don't look at the obstacles as failures, but you're still moving forward. Okay? There is no such thing as failure. The only time you fail is if you actually quit and give up. That's what he's saying. You can never fail if you never give up. Keep on trying. Each effort produces the same result. Success, after all, is only the collection of many good results. Never leave till tomorrow that which you can do today, said Benjamin Franklin. The worst enemy you will encounter on life's highway is within your own self. Isn't that true? Your worst enemy is yourself. Its name is procrastination. Procrastination kills ambition. It gets one into the habit of indecision, which causes failure. That's really procrastination. You know, it's not so much, okay, I'll take out the garbage tomorrow or something like that, and people say you're procrastinating. Okay, really, he's talking a deeper and deeper sense of procrastination. He says procrastination kills ambition. It gets you into the habit of indecision. Okay, do you have trouble making decisions? And a lot of it stems from childhood. Okay, most of the time it really stems kind of very deep. If you're very indecisive as an adult, start being aware of where that indecision comes from. Okay, this is kind of what I've been working through as well. Because indecision causes failure. Why does it cause failure to be indecisive? Because it confuses your mind. Your mind don't know what you want, but you can't really decide what you want. You're always indecisive on everything you do. That's why indecision leads to failure, because it causes confusion in your mind, confuses the universe. Basically what you're doing. And then he says, practice making decisions clearly and promptly. Isn't that amazing? Napoleon Hill says this about decision making all the time. Practice making decisions clearly. What does that mean? Clear decisions. You're making a definite decision. You know exactly what you want. It's specific. That's the type of decision you're making, and you're making it promptly. What does that mean? You're making decisions promptly. You're making it fast. You're making a quick decision. Okay? Like when I go inside my imagination and I want to be a multi-millionaire, I want $15 million in my bank account. Okay, when I play imagination and I go inside maybe before I drift off to sleep, one of the things I start noticing is when I'm a multi-millionaire inside my imagination, I'm carrying myself different. I'm making different decisions. I'm making fast decisions. I'm making quick decisions, clear decisions. I know exactly what I want. Isn't that weird? Inside my imagination, I'm like that. Okay, but now when you go in my 3D world, I can be very indecisive. So this is what I mean when you hit that fear barrier. Okay, that fear barrier for me can be indecision. Okay, because when I'm indecisive, I'm comfortable, but I have to make decisions exactly what I want, and I have to make them fast and promptly. I hit that fear barrier. So for me to hit through that fear barrier, I got to start making decisions. I got to start saying, hey, this is what I want. Boom, and make a decision to do it. So it's so funny when he talks about this stuff. Practice making your decisions clearly and promptly. Take care of all the little questions that come to you, and they will automatically take care of any other big questions should they arise. One who cannot decide for himself clearly subordinates his judgment. He becomes receptive to the racial thought around him, and then he becomes one of the masses and can attract only what the masses supply. What do you do with your spare time? Now he's moving on. Now it's his questions. What do you do with your spare time? How do you spend it? Where do you spend it? Do you give it any value? In these days, much profit and sometimes the whole success depends upon the using of the odds and ends, the so-called byproducts. So what he's doing, it's so funny to me, like especially when you talk about personal development, we talk about manifesting, we talk about these exercises, we even talk about someone reading a book. Lots of times, what's the famous phrase is like, well, I don't have time. Okay, now that's what he's saying. What do you do with your spare time? Everybody has time. Okay, especially even nowadays in 2024, what do? we're constantly, how many hours a day are you on your phone, scrolling through TikTok? And even your phone now keeps track of it. So you can easily know, how much time you're really on your phone. So what do you do with your spare time? How do you spend it? Where do you spend it? Well, what type of value do you give to your spare time? And then he goes on, he says, byproducts are something apart from the main article manufactured, and yet they have a value of their very own. All types of big business have their byproducts, odds and ends that pay them well. The Armour Meat Packing Company uses all their byproducts to advantage. From the pigtails to the hair, there are endless byproducts. The pigtails are dried and sold as a delicacy. The hair is made into brushes and a strong rope. Now, if Armour neglected the use of the byproducts, there would be a great difference in the amount of dividends they pay their stockholders. The point for us is this. Now he's saying this is the point. Okay, he gave us, what do you do with your spare time? He gave us this weird example. Okay, but he said, what's the point? Okay, what's the point for this? We may not be manufacturers like the Armour Meat Packing Company. We are dealers in time. Listen to this. We are dealers in time. Our success depends upon the use of our time and its many byproducts, which we call odd moments. What about these odd moments? The real success of some started in odd moments. Listen to this. The real success in some started in these odd moments. Okay, maybe I have an hour a day and free, and this hour a day, I built my brain and built my company off of just working an hour a day, giving an hour of my attention. That's kind of what he's talking about here with these odd moments. The real success of some started in these odd moments. What one does with his spare time not only is clear profit, but it increases his mental activities. Every minute you save by making it useful and profitable adds to your life and the possibility of a successful one. Every minute lost is the neglected byproduct. Listen, every minute lost is the neglected byproduct. Now, every minute, okay, anytime I have spare time, no matter if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, 45 minutes, anytime I kind of just waste that, maybe I waste it, thinking, worrying, I can do that. Sometimes I can sit here and really kind of think and worry about something. Next thing I know, 45 minutes passed. And I basically sat in that meditative state of worry. I don't know if I'm the weird one that does that. The biggest one today, like I said before, is our phone. We have 15 minutes. What do? We pick up our phone, start texting. Most of the time we go on Instagram, TikTok, and we just scroll on all the shorts. Next thing we know, we've sat here and done it for 45 minutes. And lots of times we do that several times a day. So every minute is lost as a neglected byproduct. We're neglecting the use of our time. We're neglecting being able to move forward and progress. Once it's gone, it can never be returned. And that's what he's saying. Once our time is gone, it can never be returned to us. Sometimes as you're older, sometimes when you look back, your kids are grown now. Sometimes we think back and we think, oh, I should have spent more time with them. I should have taken life a little bit, not serious, but been more maybe family oriented. Maybe not so focused so much at work. Maybe you were a workaholic, and you think back, your time speeds up. Depending upon there's many avenues we can talk about here. Once time is gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. You can't get time back. Think of the quarter hour before breakfast. So 15 minutes before breakfast, a half hour before breakfast, the half hour after, and the 20 minutes on the trolley. 20 minutes on a trolley is like you're driving a car. You commute to work for 30 minutes, so you're in a car for 30 minutes. That's what he's talking about. The time wasted awaiting appointments during the day, and the scores of chances each day when you might read or figure or concentrate or work for your goal. So that's what he's saying. You want this goal, you have plenty of opportunities through your day to read, figure, concentrate, or work towards that goal. Use all your time constructively. That's what he's saying. It is only the aimless, worthless, and unsuccessful ones who speak of killing time. The one who's killing time is destroying his opportunities, while the man who is succeeding is making his time live and making it useful. I always like to hear a person say that there isn't enough time in the day for him. That person is getting the most out of his life, and I venture to say he is succeeding. Sometimes I catch myself say this myself. Is like I have like so much to do, and even like right now I'm in Ohio visiting family, so of course I'm visiting because I'm gonna go back to Thailand here in a couple months. But I'm visiting. Of course they want to visit me, but they know I'm not going to be here for a long term. You know what I mean? And of course I'm working and doing things, and the internet's a little bit slower here, so it takes me a little bit more time to upload videos and stuff like that. So I catch myself even saying this to myself as when he says, I always like to hear people say there just isn't enough time in the day. I have so much to get done. And he says the person getting most out of his life, and I venture to say, is succeeding. Success then summarized. This is a summarizing of this chapter. Success then summarized is the way we learn to use two valuable things, our time and thought. Knowledge alone is not success. It is the way we use that knowledge. It is important always to remember that back of all our toil and struggle, under the dust and smoke of things, there are the arms of a Father guiding, guarding, and supporting us. Whatever we lack, whatever you lack, He has whatever you need. He can supply whatever obstacle you encounter. God within you and about you can overcome it. So near to man, wrote Emerson, when duty whispers low, thou must, with youth replies, I can. And this is a wonderful poem right here. You can. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost a cinch, you won't. If you think you're lost. For out in the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Such a powerful quote. I almost feel like reading it again. I won't. You can pause this video. You can look it up. I love this quote. But anyway, that wraps up the entire book. That wraps up Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. This is chapter 12, Law of Success. And, kind of moving forward here, in your own, even in mine, in your own personal development journey, no matter if it's manifesting success, the power of the mind, whatever you want to say, don't stop. Always try to produce, I hate to kind of say this, try to produce daily routines. Not so much, I'm kind of now against really huge morning routines. I used to do them, and I used to do like a 2-hour morning routine, and after the morning routine, I would be exhausted. So, what really works for me now is actually scattering stuff throughout the day, even in manifesting, even wanting a dream house, a dream car, dream vacations, where you want to live. What has helped me is being able to scatter things throughout my 3D world. Having a very short morning routine, but maybe around lunchtime I have something else I do. Then a few hours later I have something else that I do. So I kind of scatter it, and that kind of keeps me a little bit more focused throughout the day. And for me, what I mean by focused, keeps me more positive. It helps my mind stop like drifting off to the negative. Just because when we think about all these laws, we want to focus on a good comes to us, but it's so easy. It's so easy to drift backwards. Okay, it's so easy to stop. It's so easy to let negativity get into our life. It's so easy to fester on negativity. So what really has worked for me is scattering things throughout our day and getting in a habit of that. Even if I go walking, with technology nowadays, is that I bring my earpiece and I listen to something on my phone, listen to YouTube, listen to Noah Goddard, listen to something positive. I'm not saying I don't ever listen to music. I do listen to a lot of music. Nowadays, I'm kind of getting with music, making sure I'm listening to stuff that's more upbeat, positive, and stuff like that. I try not to listen to music that puts me in a sad state, a depressed state. I start being aware of kind of your states, the things that make you feel uplifted, makes you feel powerful. That's the stuff you should be doing more of. So even with your car, if you drive 30 minutes to work, an hour to work, and you have that same commute home, I mean, at least going to work, have a personal development library in your car where you're listening to stuff on the way there. Then maybe on the way home, listen to music. You kind of get in your own little routine there. But there's time out there. There's time to, you have all the time in the world. You have time to do this, okay? No matter how busy you are, you have time, okay? It's just, it has to be important to you to put it in. You have to start being aware of where all the time that's wasted for you and putting it better. Even when I go to the gym, okay, lots of times I'm listening to something positive in the gym. Sometimes I go 50-50. Sometimes I'm listening to music. Sometimes I'm listening to something positive. Or I'm listening to an audiobook. You know what I mean? I'm doing two things at one time. I'm working out and I have earphones on. So other than that, my friends, blessings to you, by the way. Remember, I love you guys. This is something you can listen to over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's that's why I do. Even with this book, I've had this book at least 12 years, maybe more, and it's falling apart. And because I've read it so much, it's not falling apart because I throw it, but it's falling apart because this is one of my favorite books. That's why I want to do these videos on it. But I've read it so much, I have to buy a new book. That's the whole concept here is reread these books over and over and over and over and over again. You reading it once and you try to debate with people on it, you think you conceptually understand it, but you're not getting results in your life that you really want. That's what it really comes down to. If you're not really getting the results that you don't in your life that you want, okay, something's holding it back, you don't know. You have to figure out what that is. And that's your job. You have to figure out what it is. You have to start becoming self-aware. And one of the ways we become self-aware is through personal development, is through rereading things, Think and Grow Rich, rereading Working with the Law, rereading Wallace Wattles' books, The Science of Getting Rich. Because sometimes something just throws off, something just kind of, at the time in your life, you just read it. Maybe you read it 100 times, but that 101 time, it clicked for whatever reason. Or it could be something easy as I'm explaining something, even if you heard it 500 times, and you think, okay, I'm going to listen to Chad while I'm driving to work, and I say it, or I explain it in a certain way. Maybe I give a silly example in my own life, and it clicks with you, and you finally got it. And that's what turns it around for you, okay? But other than that, my friends, blessings to you. I love you guys. See you in the next video, and blessings to you.